May God bless you all. Today, we're going to talk about an interesting topic. It's called the paradoxes of hospitalization. Hospital by itself is a place of paradox. Why? First of all, hospital is a place of life and death. In the old times, people used to be born at home and people used to die at home. But today, that is done in the hospital. So both the ends of the spectrum occur in hospital. The gamut of life, the beautiful and the ugly, seems to occur in hospitals, and life's contradictions are experienced firsthand at the hospital. For some, hospitalization is a time of celebration. Healthy babies are born, and broken bones are mended. Feared symptoms are diagnosed benign. Pains are still. Hope abounds. God's goodness is apparent, or so it seems. But unfortunately, for others, hospitalization is a time of remorse. Babies are born dead or deformed. Feared symptoms are confirmed. Breasts are amputated. Injuries and scars are defined permanent. Hope is dashed. God is distant, or so it seems. For some, hospitalization is a moment of preciseness. That is, as we suspected, you have a hot gallbladder, or I can schedule you for surgery tomorrow and you shall be out of here by the end of the week. But unfortunately for others, the time of hospitalization is a time of disappointing impreciseness. We're just not sure what's causing all this. We're going to send you home and carefully monitor those symptoms. Right now, we just don't know what else to do. Some get answers they want. Some get answers they do not want. And others don't get an answer at all. And the hospitalized patient always and also faces the paradox of being both free and bound. So never is one so free of life's daily demands as when one is in the hospital. All appointments and responsibilities are cancelled. Sympathy, not obligations, is the order of the day. Yet never is one so bound as in illness. So schedules and services are devised by others. One's abilities and energies to attain certain goals, to experience certain pleasures and fulfillments may be severely compromised. Hence, while being free of existential responsibilities, the sick patient is internally constrained. In addition, the options of re-engagement with life outside the hospital may remain highly tentative. So the hospital patient always experiences this paradox of being alone with a myriad of contacts. One never lacks for company in a hospital. Indeed, privacy is rare. And yet in the midst of these human contacts, a hospitalized patient often ends up doing alone many of the things customarily done with intimate others, like eating, sleeping, watching TV, going to bed at night, and waking up in the morning. These can be an airy loneliness in the midst of all those human contacts. And at a deeper level, sickness often renders strange what has been familiar. Certainly, one inhabits the same body in illness as in health, but it doesn't seem the same. What over the years has been a trusted, predictable companion is now a stranger, emitting strange sensations and pain waves, causing shifting moods and a disconcerting drowsiness. In illness, one is often not at home in one's own body. That too is a disturbing paradox. In similar ways, one may not be comfortable with his or her own feelings. The energy demands of illness often render one emotionally vulnerable. Raw feelings of terror, guilt, rage, confusion surge to the surface in unprecedented intensity. There is, for instance, uncontrolled sobbing, torturous self-recriminations, and dejecting apathy are not uncommon expressions of illness, and such powerful emotions can be unnerving and embarrassing both to patients and loved ones. Nothing is under control, externally or internally, in sickness, or so it seems. The hospitalized patient confronts yet another paradox that is less easy to define. The vast technological resources made available to an individual patient are almost embarrassing. Rarely is life so highly valued, yet so often those vast energies and resources are devoted toward the disease of the person rather than towards the person with the disease. And those of us who work in hospitals must confess that too often our medical technology prompts us to be more interested in kidneys than in the owner of kidneys, more preoccupied with the heart as a pump than with the heart as the seat of emotions. This intense dedication towards disease, at the neglect of other dimensions of human suffering, is both flattering and disconcerting to the patient. It is indeed a paradox. In fact, Eric Cassell makes a helpful distinction between disease and suffering. And he writes, suffering is experienced by persons not merely by bodies, and has its sources in the challenges that threaten the intactness of the person as a complex social and psychological entity. As he notes, suffering may include physical pain, but is by no means limited of it. Suffering is anything that threatens the intactness and integrity of the person. It occurs when anything in which a person has made a significant emotional investment is threatened. So, it can, and usually does, occur on many dimensions at the same time. So suffering, while it is universal, is deeply personal and subjective. It must be defined in a specific person, at a specific time. Personal meaning is a fundamental dimension of personhood, and there can be no profound understanding of human suffering without taking those meanings into account. And the paradox in many hospitals is that disease is carefully, almost obsessively monitored, while personal suffering, such as Cassell defines it, is largely ignored. Finally, hospitals confront patients with the marvels and limits of science. That too is a paradox. Hospitals are society's extensions of its own infinite aspirations and finite limitations. And many patients soon discover that at hospitals technologies are not infinite. And those limitations are translated into medical failures. And those failures are absolute for that patient at that time. Little matter that a cure will eventually be found for that disease. What matters to that patient is that the cure is not available when it is needed. So such is the hospital today, a place of paradox, of contradictions, of blurred realities, a place where many of our patients' highest hopes and prayers are miraculously answered, a place where many of their deepest fears and agonies are painfully endured. It is the place where hospital chaplains, we, do our ministry, and the paradoxes of that context cannot help but shape and define our chaplain ministry. So let us thank God today that we are working in this place of paradoxes, and may the Lord help us to bear this paradox and also to offer hope in this paradox, in these paradoxical situations. May God bless you all.